Right, we are live. Excuse me. I'm trying to get the latest on the Houston Texans and the NFL draft. What is going on, everybody? My name is Harley Dugan. Ruben is not here. He is at his Dave and Buster's draft party. So I am right in here solo. And the Houston Texans, ladies and gentlemen, they were on the clock at number 25, but now they have made a trade with the New York Giants. And the New York Giants are now officially on the clock at 25. And the Texans, they missed out on Donovan Jackson. They missed out on Matthew Golden. They missed out on a buffet of players that could have been available for them. The Texans have decided, no, we are going to trade out of the first round. And ladies and gentlemen, according to Adam Schefter, the return is here below. The Giants have just gotten the 25th pick in the NFL draft, and the Houston Texans have moved down nine spots, excuse me. They have moved down to number 34. They got pick number 99, and they got a third round pick next year. Ladies and gentlemen, the Houston Texans, let me say it again, they have traded down to number 34. They got an extra pick in number 99, and now they have a third round pick next year. There are multiple draft picks the Houston Texans can play with here if they want to trade back up in this draft, but now they will not be picking until day 2, which is tomorrow at 34. Not shocking. A lot of the guys that were on the board for the Houston Texans didn't necessarily work out, okay? Remember, Matthew Golden on there didn't happen. Donovan Jackson was the guy. I believe Donovan Jackson was the guy for the Houston Texans, and he ended up going to the Minnesota Vikings at 24. Immediately, I said the Texans need to trade down. The Texans need to trade down. And Nick Caserio, Trader Nick, is back at it again, and he has made the trade to go all the way down to 34. I absolutely am loving this trade down. I am glad that because of the rest of this draft, again, numerous prospects are still available between 20 to 70, and the Texans got the majority of their draft picks in between those brackets right there. So everyone's probably going, why would the Houston Texans, what are they looking at now, Harley? Why did they trade down, and what are they looking for? Let's get into it. They traded down because the players that were on their board were gone. And again, the biggest one, Donovan Jackson from Ohio State, he was going to be the pick for the Houston Texans at 25, and it didn't happen. The Minnesota Vikings ended up taking him there at 24. Again, let me give you the haul one more time. The Giants get pick number 25. The Texans move down to 34. They get pick number 99, and now they have a third round pick next year. So that means next year they have their first round pick. They got 2 seconds, 2 thirds, 2 fours. Ladies and gentlemen, that is 7 picks before at the end of round 4 for the 2026 NFL draft. I don't have no problem with the trade down. I like this deal for the Houston Texans. I don't know what the Giants picked, but I can definitely feel that. Let me see. The Falcons are now on the clock. They just okay. I don't know who the Giants picked, but regardless, who cares? This is a absolutely great trade for the Houston Texans, and thank you, Texan Hog. I was about to get into it. Who am I eyeing at 34? Who should the Texans be eyeing at 34? Well, now that Donovan Jackson is off the board, you got to take a look at the rest of the offensive line group as well. Ultimately, though, at 34, if Travion Henderson is available at 34, I'm picking him. I'm doing it. To me, you get the third best running back in this draft. He might go to the Kansas City Chiefs, and maybe this ages horribly like milk at 32. I feel like Henderson's the pick at 32 for the Chiefs. But if he's there at 34, I would have no problem with the Houston Texans getting him. I am ecstatic about this trade down, but there are numerous picks that the Texans, there are numerous prospects, that the Texans could go. Okay, mention Travion Henderson, Ariante Ursary, the offensive tackle out of Minnesota, big old boy, massive, and he has some great feet, good anchor, somebody the Texans would have no problem with, and somebody the Texans have met with was Ariante Ursary. After that, when you look at the rest, you can still take a look at wide receiver. Luther Burden is still available if people are, interested in if people are still interested in taking him. The Giants did pick Jackson Dart. I just saw it. I just glossed over it because I was like, well, whatever. So the Giants did end up picking Jackson Dart with the pick at 25. I don't mind this deal. I don't. I'm not upset with it. Y'all let me know, who do y'all think the Houston Texans could be taking at 34? But there's a boatload of prospects. I'm trying to load up that way I can take a look at the rest of the big board here. But I mean, Will Johnson is still available. That's just nuts to me that Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan, is still available. So there's so much here that the Texans can take a look at. My thing is buffering, so I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the phone real quick on the big board, and we're going to take a look at who's the remaining players because I don't know off the top of my head, but we are going to take a look at offensive tackle right now. And the Houston Texans, Josh Simmons is still available. Josh Connerly from Oregon is still available. Both of them guys, I don't mind at 34. I'm not a big fan of Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons, to me, doesn't fit what the Houston Texans are trying to reset in their offensive line room. There's a lot of character concerns with him, and I don't think that's what DeMeco Ryans wants here in Houston. It's pretty evident that they gutted the O-line room because they want a change in culture. They want it to resonate what the Texans do defensively into the offensive line room. So I don't think he's the pick there. But Josh Connerly, somebody the Texans, he had a good visit with the Texans, according to Aaron Wilson and many others. You have Josh Connerly there. He's met with the Texans. Ariante Ursary has met with the Texans. Those are the two right there that I think of immediately when it comes to offensive tackle. Now, offensive guard. Jordan Reed, the ESPN NFL draft scout analyst, mentioned Jonah Savanea fits exactly what the Houston Texans want out of an offensive lineman. He fits what they're looking for. He finishes. He's a punisher. And to me, give me a big old Samoan at 34. I would be happy. I know people are asking safety or linebacker. I don't see it being realistic, but Nick Amenwari is still available. Malachi Starks is still available. Xavier Watts, one of my favorite safeties in this group, is still available. I don't see them picking that at 34. No offense, guys. I just think that even though those are solid options, because you traded for CJ Gardner-Johnson, I think safety is not in question right now. But then I see y'all talked about linebacker. Jahad Campbell is still available there. And man, I would love a Jahad Campbell. I love him. I love Carson Schwesinger out of UCLA. My goodness, his film for this previous year, nuts. The dude was absolutely insane statistically. He was just a bad mofo, just to put it quite simple. But Jahad Campbell can change a lot of things defensively. I just don't see them going linebacker. They did go sign EJ Speed a few weeks ago. They have him, Christian Harris, Aziz Al-Shaair, Henry To'oTo'o. Like, those are four linebackers right there that they're going to be using in several packages. And if Christian Harris is healthy and he's back to doing what we know he can do, and that's be a demon on the football field and be the speediest dude on the field, and DeMeco Ryans loves him some Christian Harris, I could see no linebacker being drafted here for the Texans at 34. Those are two right there. We're going to look at DT right now. You still got Darius Alexander. We got what's his name? Darius Alexander was from Toledo, and we hired Frank Oakham. Frank Oakham was a former Houston Texan. We drafted Oakham, I believe, in like 2004, 2006, maybe a little, maybe '08. He feels like an '08 guy, maybe '09, who knows? But Frank Oakham from the University of Texas. The reason I'm mentioning him is the Texans hired him, and he worked at Toledo. And Darius Alexander had his best year at Toledo this year, monster at the Senior Bowl. And a lot of that credit goes to Frank Oakham. Frank Oakham is here in Houston as an assistant D lines coach. It could happen that maybe a non-power 5 guy could be the pick at 34 for the Texans. So you got Darius Alexander there, but to me, that's the only one you could see at 34. Shamar Turner to me is more of the number 58th pick. But now you got 2 picks in the second round, and I'm sorry, but Texans fans, man, they're just. I understand that y'all may be a little upset. I get it. You waited this long, and they traded down, and some of your guys got picked. Matthew Golden's off. You know, who else? Donovan Jackson was off the board. Plenty of offensive linemen were off the board. Emeka Egbuka got off the board. So, yeah, appreciate you, Texan Hog. I will see you tomorrow, buddy. Or you can catch me live on YouTube. I'll be going live on YouTube as soon as we hit 30 minutes here on Bleacher Report. But Jared Wilson is still available from Georgia. He's definitely going to be a day 2 pick and maybe the only center picked in day 2. But like I said, Jonas Savanea is available. You got Tate Ratledge still there. Who knows if he's available at 34 or 58. But the Texans got plenty to play with right now. And if they wanted to re-enter the first round, they could. They could definitely do that. Or they could just stay pat at 34. And to me, I stayed up for nothing. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Vic. I mean, I love this. I love doing this. This is what I do. This is what I like doing. I love talking random stuff, and I like trying to make us all sound like we're the geniuses, right? I mean, we're all smart until the Texans make the pick, and then they're the dummies, and we're the smarties. I don't mind it, man. I understand a lot of Texans fans could be upset here, but I'm having a blast. I'm having a blast right now. Remember, Josh Simmons, Josh Connerly are still available. Ariante Ursery. Those are 3 offensive tackles the Houston Texans could be looking at. I know I wanted Golden too, man. I wanted Golden. I wanted Golden badly. I wanted him so bad, and he goes to the Green Bay Packers. Man, I wanted Matthew Golden. I thought it was a lock. I thought when the Chargers went to Marion Hampton, which I thought they were going to get a running back, I went, okay, the Packers are going to go defense. They never draft a wide receiver. They never do. And the Packers drafted a wide receiver. I know Aaron Rodgers is upset somewhere because they never drafted a wide receiver for him. Easy Lou 42. Man, I hope D'Amico has a plan because if CJ can't be protected, he may be asking for a trade soon. Overreaction. A huge overreaction there. The Houston Texans have plenty of picks to get themselves some offensive linemen, and there are still plenty of offensive linemen on the board. So major prisoner of the moment comment right there. Major overreaction. We're not doing that, man. CJ Stroud is not going nowhere. Okay, CJ Stroud, they're already in talks for that contract extension. I obviously we all know that contract extension will be happening for the Texans. There's no doubts. Okay, I'm not doubting that. That's going to happen. We ain't going to go into 2.0. Okay, we're not doing that. The wide receiver position is still fun. I mentioned Luther Burden available. Jaden Higgins from Iowa State is available. His running mate, Jalen Noel, also available. Trey Harris out of Ole Miss, also available. Those are some solid guys I could see maybe between 34 and 58, maybe more towards 58. But the Texans, I mean, they got numerous picks that they can get going with, and they got numerous prospects that they can hit going. Easy Lou right here. Getting hit every couple plays is not a good thing. Again, prisoner of the moment comment. As we know, the Texans haven't drafted anybody. So It'd be different if you think, oh, the Texans drafted a receiver or running back and they didn't draft an offensive line. Then I understand your comment. And I kind of do, kind of don't, because you still have the rest of the draft. You got 2 seconds. You got a third, 79, 89, and 99. You got 5 picks in the top 100 right now. Believe me, they're going to address offensive line. Calm down, relax. They will address the offensive line. There's no worries about that for me. In some sort of way, shape, or form, the Texans are going to address the offensive line. So, with that being said, those are the numerous prospects that are available. We've seen the Falcons now have picked James Pierce Jr. at number 26. Really good edge. I believe I was out of Tennessee, I want to say. Yeah, I was at Tennessee. So, yeah, I like this move. I like this trade down. I like what the Texans did here. The players came off the board. They tried to trade up. I mean, it didn't happen, but they tried to trade up. I have it on good word that they tried to trade up. It didn't happen. And the players got taken before they could get that trade accepted or that trade even offered. Hey, it is what it is, man. The board didn't go your way the last 5 minutes. It was doing pretty good for you until that last few picks. Everything kind of went sideways a bit with Golden and Donovan Jackson getting picked back to back. But ultimately, I think this is a great move for the Houston Texans. This is a great haul for Nick Caserio. Again, 5 picks in the top 100. And now there is multiple scenarios. You can double dip at offensive line. You can get you a wide receiver. You can get a running back. And that is four picks right there. And you still got a 5th one in the top 100. Could they go tight end? Could they go a wild card? Could they go defensive tackle? Alfred Collins out of Texas, somebody they've met with. I think DT now is able to be fit into here. And at 99, again, if they stay pat with all these picks, at 99, I would love the Texans to get Brashard Smith, running back out of SMU, former wide receiver turned running back, great hands, good running ability. He's a little bit of a do-it-all type running back. Only 1 year of experience at running back, but he did it at a high level, and he is a playmaker when the ball is in his hands. To me, the Texans would love, Nick Caley especially, would love to have Brashard Smith rocking that battle red, Liberty white, and steel blue. But that's at 99. We're focused on 34. So the Houston Texans at 34, they're definitely going to be doing their thing. They're definitely going to be checking their keys. What was it? Crossing their T's and dotting their I's when it comes to all the offensive line prospects. We got another comment here. Easy Lou 42 again. I don't think I'm overreacting. I've historical how the Texans draft high defensive linemen for years and go draft mid-round picks for the O-line that never materialize into great players. Dwayne Brown is the only good player we've drafted high. Well, I can't speak for the history of the Houston Texans, but what I can speak on is Nick Caserio. Nick Caserio is running this, not what's his name? Who was a former GM here? Rick Smith. Rick Smith's not running things. Who is it? Charlie Casserly's not running things. Rick Smith is not running things. Bill O'Brien is not running things, thankfully. Brian Gain is not running things. I don't care about the history of the Houston Texans. I care about right now with what Nick Caserio is doing. Is it fair that you have concerns that Nick Caserio hasn't been able to pick a pretty decent offensive lineman? That's a fair point. I can give you that. I can give you that. Okay, Juice Scruggs, not quite sure. Blake Fisher, not quite sure. Jared Patterson's been really good for a 6th-round pick and arguably your best pick that Nick Caserio has taken with the offensive line. A bust with Kenyon Green, but hey, Kenyon Green was a highly touted prospect coming out of A&M. Nobody thought Kenyon Green was going to be a bust. It was just questions that, oh man, you could have got Jordan Davis or Kyle Hamilton instead of him. But nobody thought Kenyon Green was going to be a bust. That dude was rocking and rolling at A&M, being all SEC and doing his thing, okay? It just sucks. It didn't work out here. It is what it is. But he's a bust, and Nick Caserio drafted him. So I think, yeah, it is a fair point that Nick Caserio, there's concerns around him drafting offensive linemen, but the rest of the history doesn't matter. I don't care about the rest of the history because then you can just say, well, why should Tyler Booker be drafted in the first round? No offensive linemen out of Alabama have ever been any good. None. Oh, who Chance Warmack? You like him? We can go down the list. I mean, there's multiple. Cam Robinson here in Houston. He's not very good. He's okay, but he ain't very good. And a lot of them were drafted in the first round. So I'm not here to helmet scout. I'm not here to look at history. I'm here to look at right now. What has Nick Caserio done? And right now he traded down. He knew that there was no players worthy enough to take at 25 because my immediate question is, who do you want at 25 then if they were going to stay there? Who? Josh Simmons has way too many character concerns and does not fit what the Houston Texans are looking for in the offensive line room. They resetted the entire offensive line room because of intangibles, because of the culture, and they want that O-line room to look like the defensive line room. And right now it doesn't look that way. And you draft a guy in Josh Simmons, that wouldn't make any sense. It doesn't. It makes no sense. Josh Connerly makes some sense. He had some good talks, some good interviews with the Houston Texans. A little bit of a project, but he has great film against Abdul Carter. And Abdul Carter is a top 3 pick in this draft. Went number 3, by the way. And Josh Connerly held him to 0 pressures and did his thing against Abdul Carter. He's got some ways to grow, but it isn't a necessarily bad pick for them at 34. But with that being said, again, let me know, who do y'all want the Houston Texans to pick at 34? I've named numerous prospects for them. Do you want them to stay at 34? They could re-enter into this draft. Who knows? But ultimately, the Houston Texans, man, they did their thing. They did their thing. Yeah, it is a good trade. It is a good trade. This is a fantastic haul. I would be content if I'm Texans fans because you didn't just, we need an offensive lineman for the sake of it. No, you don't need an O-line for the sake of it. As currently constructed, it ain't great. I know that. But you don't need to just draft an O-lineman just to draft an O-lineman. All of them got picked before you got there. It is what it is. You traded down and you got yourself a haul, and now you're looking at 5 picks inside the top 100, and you're looking at 2, 4, 6, 7 picks before the 5th round starts for the Texans next year. So I'm excited to hear what the Houston Texans are going to be doing. That would be... Okay, sorry, I'm texting someone right now. I'm getting some word, but I can't tell y'all because I'm not going to because I can't. But anyway, the Houston Texans have numerous picks there. Quinshon Judkins could be available too at 58 for the Texans. I know he came in for a visit with the Texans. I mentioned Travion Henderson. I forgot to mention Quinshon Judkins, the leading rusher at Ohio State this previous year, right up there with Travion Henderson. They both had 1,000 yards rushing. I wouldn't mind either one. So day 2 O-lineman Cam Robinson, Trent Brown, Ed Ingram. I'm worried, brother. I'm glad you believe in Nick Caserio. Yeah, I mean, again, that's a fair point. But this offensive line still has Titus Howard. It still has Blake Fisher. It still has, they brought in Laken Tomlinson as well. I've already said, as currently constructed, it ain't great. It's putting lipstick on a pig, perfume on a pig. But as currently constructed, it's at least average. And you got to hope that the O-line's coach and the OC can circumvent their way around, can circumvent their way around a poor offensive line play. And I'm hoping that Nick Caley could do it. I understand the concern, though. I do. But trust me, they have 5 picks in the top 100. The Texans are going to grab themselves an offensive lineman. Like, they're going to do that. I don't know what you wanted them to do. They were high on Kelvin Banks. It didn't happen. Kelvin Banks ended up going top 10, okay? He went 9 to the Saints. The Texans would have had to trade a whole bunch in order to get Kelvin Banks. Didn't happen. You were hoping Donovan Jackson could fall to you at 25. But Donovan Jackson, he was supposed to go early second round, late first round. So, it is what it is. Like, it's not like you missed on this can't miss prospect. I love Donovan Jackson, and I thought he was a safe pick that the Texans could have been looking at. Gray Zabel went 18 to the Seattle Seahawks. Every mock kept saying Gray Zabel to the Seattle Seahawks. So, I mean, the Texans were trying to trade up. It didn't happen, guys. I'm sorry. It's unfortunate, but it didn't happen. And they're going to get day two offensive linemen. I really believe it. Or at least one day two and one day three, excuse me. They're getting two O linemen within those 5 picks. So I really wanted Matthew Golden. My heart hurt right there. I'm a Houston Cougar fan, man. Whose house? I'm a Houston Cougar fan, and he was a former Houston Cougar. He was born and raised in Houston, went to UT, did his thing in the championship game as well, or excuse me, the playoffs. And I liked Matthew Golden. I really wanted Matthew Golden, but it is what it is. The Houston Texans, man, there's a lot still there in terms of prospects. There's a lot. And I will say this. You have 5 picks in the top 100. What if the Houston Texans traded one of them away for a player? By that, I mean the Detroit Lions have been circulating and looking around for a team to get Jameson Williams. And I'm not saying this is happening. It's just an idea I'm throwing out there. But Jameson Williams has been shopped around going into the NFL draft today. At least that was rumors going around the NFL. And if the Houston Texans, I'll trade 99 for Jameson Williams tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. That's easy. That's a slam dunk. Jameson Williams could pop the top off the defense, and immediately you found yourself a legitimate wide receiver 2 that can do some things. Now, his cons, well, you're going to have to pay him in 2 years, and contract extension, who knows how much money he's looking for. He had himself a pretty solid year for Detroit, this previous one, but the Texans, they could be getting into it, man. They got plenty of prospects. Maybe Jameson Williams. That'd be a fun one, right? It's just a fun idea. I don't think there's any traction there, and quite honestly, I don't think that happens. But 5 picks inside the top 100. The Texans are doing their thing. 34 is the position now for the Texans. I'm excited. I am excited. You can catch myself and Ruben tomorrow on the live stream at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 o'clock Eastern Time for all my Houstonians, 6 p.m. Central Time. Again, Ruben will be here tomorrow with myself, and we will be giving y'all the latest on everything that is happening with the Houston Texans. Whoever they've picked will know hopefully by then. Hopefully there's a pick, and hopefully Easy Lou can settle down and be calm that the Houston Texans drafted a few offensive linemen for him and CJ Stroud. That's what I'm hoping for. Praying for y'all guys, all right? And I'm praying for my psyche, man. Shoot. I need it, man. I need it. I need it. We're talking deep this when we can't pass buck for 2 seconds as well. Okay. Okay. Whatever. It's just that's a whatever for me. You're in the prisoner of the moment. You're going to continue to overreact, and it's fine. I get it. They didn't make a pick, and you think they were supposed to do what? Trade up? You wanted them to trade next year's first-round pick, buddy? Is that what you wanted them to do and go get Kelvin Banks? That's who they had high on the board. You want them to trade a first-round pick next year? Here you go. This is the trade offer. You want to go trade with the New Orleans Saints to go get Kelvin Banks. Okay, no problem. That's what Easy Lou wants. Let's give him what he wants, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to trade up 25. You're going to trade 25. You're going to trade next year's first-round pick, and you're going to trade another second-round pick. That is 25, 58 in the first-round pick next year. That's what you wanted to do, to go get Kelvin Banks, a guy that had to sit out against Georgia in the second game because he couldn't play that good. Because in the first game, he got walloped by Georgia. They didn't want to play him in the second game. That's who we wanted? A guy that's scared of competition is what that sounds like? I don't know, man. I know the Houston Texans had him high on the board, but I am not trading a first-round pick next year. So you can miss me with that, man. You can miss me with the Kelvin Banks. You can miss me with anyone else that was up there. Tyler Booker went 12 to the Cowboys. You want to go trade a first-round pick for a non-athletic guard that is heavily scheme dependent. That's what you want to trade a first and second round pick for, I'm not doing it, man. Not doing it. Not. The Houston Texans, they stayed pat. They tried to trade up. They tried to get into some easier, manageable territory to draft themselves an lineman, and it didn't happen. It is what it is. The Texans will continue to move at 34, and I can't wait to see what happens. All right, guys. So that is the end of the stream. I appreciate every single one of y'all that has commented and checked in with us. The Houston Texans will be on the clock at 34 and 58 tomorrow in the second round. So make sure you are seated. It is the second pick in the second round. Make sure you're there. Make sure you're watching. And don't forget to catch me and Ruben 6 p.m. on Bleacher Report here on the app. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a very blessed rest of your night.